Okay, I thought I'd do a proper layout update. So what's happened since we moved the train into the garage here? First off, with the winching and hoisting situation, we realized how heavy it was, my brother and I, when we tried to lift it up. So I went to the store and I started looking at the string or the rope I bought here, and it was only rated for like 8 pounds or something, which is ridiculous because we lifted way more than 8 pounds and it didn't break. But so I went back and I found this is 1/4 inch instead of 3/16, even though these pulleys are rated for 3/16. 1/4 inch will definitely fit, I believe. So and this was 80 pounds, as you can see on the package there. So I think 80 times 4, there's 4 strings per thing, so that should be plenty. And I'm sure it goes well above its rating because the last stuff certainly did. Did not break. As for the actual trains, I got them actually working pretty well, but I decided that I would, before I start really cleaning the track up and doing a really thorough job of getting everything wired properly, I thought I'd finish any track changes I want to do. So I realized in the center of the table here, where the hole is for the kid to sit and my little son hopefully eventually, and the middle here, there wasn't a lot of track, and it'd be nice to have a siding in there so I could park some cars in there. You could unload them, load them with coal, that kind of thing. So what I started looking at is I got a couple new switches with some birthday money, and what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to add a switch in here. This switch would be new. It used to be straight along here over this crane, the gantry crane track, and then just connect it over here. And this was the outside main line. So now the outside of the main line will have a straight and then a curve and then another straight, then the gantry crane, which will bring me about 3 inches over the side. So I'll just add a little tiny bit out of the table, just a very small amount. And then a nice little curve here, O-54, into this switch. So that main line will now just have a little bit of a jaunt in it and then continue on. It'll actually make this curve here a little bit wider and nicer, so the trains won't have a problem there at high speed. By doing that, it allowed me to have room to come off of this switch, and we got O-42, O-54, and then 2 O-42s into a 45-degree crossover track. Obviously this piece will be cut to fit exactly. And then we can go a nice O-42 curve in here and then another 45-degree crossover over that center reversing track, which will bring the train out here. And then we'll have something, like that. And maybe a curve on it, I'm not sure yet, but that'll give me a siding into the middle of both, and it'll give me something to load stuff from the crane into a secondary train car that could be sitting here. All with one switch, which is the idea because the switches are fairly expensive and hard to come by in O-27. No one's really using this track anymore, so it's definitely they just produce it and they don't even produce it, but the stuff that's out there is just for people that are maintaining an older set like I am. But the train will then scoot through here, which is perfect, and everything's good. I'll give you a quick shot of the layout currently. So over here we have our yard, and we're also going up here to do a reverse on the main line. So we have, a switching yard. Over here I've been working on, these 3 switches are wired for external power, separate power supply. So I just found this old power supply. It's just a 14 volt AC. So I've got those hooked up to those 3 switches just to test it out. And I'm also I bought one more switch, and it's gonna replace this switch here. This switch will go do something else less important, because this switch here is very important because it's on the main line and it's also a curve on the main line. So every time you go around the main line, it has to go through this curve, which most of the time it's fine, but there are some derailing issues. So I'm hoping with a brand new switch I might have better luck, because it's really the only curved switch on the main line that we have any issues with. So I'll replace that, and then I'll use this switch for another siding somewhere else. I haven't quite figured out what I want to do there yet. But so it consists of basically 2 circles, one inside the other. This would be the inner circle and the outer circle. And the outer circle can come off of there and climb and go across the table and rejoin in on the far side there. The inner loop can cut across diagonally across the table and rejoin the inner loop, so you can return around there. So you can turn around on both, I believe. You know, it's always a little confusing, but and then so on the far end here, what I'll show you is we have the inner loop here, of course, and then we have the outer loop, and then we have where the joining the track that goes up comes down and joins back in. So we have a total of 9 switches on the layout right now, and I'm going to add 2 more basically, but 1 more for sure, so 10 right now, and then also 2 more 45-degree crossovers, so we can do a little bit more with the trains, and that will add quite a bit more track, especially to the center. I could use that extra switch in here, and that would give me 2 spurs, or you know, for the yard to play around this opening here, which I think is probably what I'll do. So that's the situation right now. I need to wire up the new rope, and then I need to get the hand crank installed over here. As you can see, that's where all the wires terminate. So I'll get the hand crank mounted on that wall, and with the new rope I'm hoping that that all works. So I'll do an update when I have that done.